And sometimes people get too obsessed and too hyperfixated on calories in versus calories out, and then realise that they're actually miserable, that they're actually developing an unhealthy relationship with food. They're actually sacrificing part of their social life just to eat a bit less to achieve a goal that isn't actually that important to them. Well, apparently the last video went down a bloody treat. So if you want more saucy videos where I just call things out in the industry, let me know and I'll produce more of them because I think they're quite fun. But in the meantime, we're going to go through some TikTok/Instagram Reels and we're going to call out some more bits and bobs, and we're going to hopefully correct some bits and bobs as well. And ideally, teach you some bits and bobs that help you with your fitness endeavor. And if throughout this entire video I actually do teach you anything that helps you, or something you perhaps didn't know, then I'd appreciate it if you did click the red button down below to subscribe to the channel, as it does very much help me. I want to tighten and tone my underarms and bra fat area, but I don't know what to do. I can give you an answer to that, and I will shortly. T bicep curls, no. So essentially, when you're looking at tightening and toning a specific area, realistically, that kind of implies like spot reduction of fat, which you cannot do, which essentially means choosing where you lose fat. Doesn't exist. Certainly you can build muscle in specific areas, but you can't reduce fat in specific areas. Doing a movement like this is a silly sausage. When considering the biceps, you're primarily considering elbow flexion, bending the elbows. To do that, you must do so against resistance. So to flex the elbows against resistance, the resistance must be, assuming it's a dumbbell, the resistance must be coming from down there. Gravity, essentially pulling from the floor up. Going like this, gravity is going there, but you're trying to encourage resistance here. Therefore, the shoulders are going to work more, not the biceps. And when you get beyond this point, gravity is going to pull that dumbbell down anyway, therefore kind of renders the biceps a bit useless. Just do a standard dumbbell curl. Tricep extensions, fine. Yeah, you can do these if you want, like that's preference. Chest openers, when thinking about the chest, you are thinking about bringing the humerus across the body, so arm across the body. If gravity's going that way, you want resistance to come that way. So you would want to lie down and press, or stand and do like a cable fly, which is going to encourage resistance from a different direction. This is going to be very shoulder dominant as well. This is fine. Tricep kickbacks, absolutely fine. You want to do it, absolutely fine. Reverse wire raises, the supinated grip, I don't really back it. The movement itself is fine. I just go overhand because you don't want to be limited by grip here. But sadly, none of these movements are directly going to encourage you to lose fat in that area. What you should do is perform some of these movements and maybe replace some of the other movements with more effective movements. So the chest opener thing, if you want to do a chest-based movement, just do a fly or a press. And then the T bicep thing, just do a standard dumbbell curl. Swap those out, train pretty hard, close to failure, push yourself, big thing, push yourself, and maybe walk a bit more, maybe eat a bit less. Do that for a sustained period of time. You'll see. And if you don't believe me, try it and tell me if I'm wrong. I probably won't be.
Back workout, bye-bye, back fat.
Again, further implies spot reduction of fat to this creator down here, so we know you can't do that.
Turbo row, I'd like to say.
The seesaw row, I'm not going to get behind. I think that is a bit wild. It looks cool, encourages a bit of movement, and I guess it would maybe indicate a bit more caloric expenditure through more movement, but I wouldn't say it's very effective. You'll notice how none of the movements this individual has done so far have been particularly difficult. None of them have been taken to close proximity of failure, which is really what's important when looking at building muscle. And if you're resistance training, building muscle is going to be at least somewhat of what you're trying to achieve. It may not be your primary goal, but it is going to be a goal of sorts, I assume.
People have this weird thing where they think that you need to do a bunch of reps to lose fat, to tone. Toning is created by reducing your body fat through nutrition, incorporating resistance training to build the muscle.
Quite balanced. I'm actually going to largely agree with most of what this individual is saying. Realistic toning is often used to really describe being more defined, and to get more defined, you just need to get leaner, which is losing body fat, and then to make muscles more prominent. If they're bigger, they're going to look a bit more apparent at higher body fat percentages. It genuinely is as simple for most people, depending on goals obviously. Walk a bit more, lift some weights, do some resistance training of sorts, and eat a bit less. Honestly, do that for long enough, you will be bloody baffled. And it sounds really simple, because it is. Achieving goals within like the realm of fitness is quite simple. Like I said before, it doesn't mean it's easy, but it is quite simple. One thing I noticed is a lot of people are scared to lift heavy. And I always say why. They say, oh, I don't want to hurt myself. Hurting yourself it is not really going to be massively related to the weight you're lifting, but kind of how you're lifting, so quality of technique, but also how you're recovering and how much volume you're doing. Under recovery and over fatigue is a massive contributor to injuries. Technical problems obviously is going to contribute to an extent, but maybe less than you think. Then say, oh, I don't want to get too big and bulky. It's not that easy. Honestly, I wish it was. I've been training for so many years. I wish it was. When people say they don't want to get too big and bulky, you're going to look at them sometimes and say, it's not as easy as you think. Quick fire, link down below. You've got a few things. You've got the link to apply to work with myself, Ryder, or Beth on a one-to-one coaching basis where we can help you achieve your goals, whatever they might be, online. So location doesn't matter. You've also got the link to download one of the TFNL workout guides. You've also got the link for the group coaching, which is essentially either home workout programming or gym workout programming created by myself for less than $1 a day. So if any of those tickle your pickle, click the link down below in the description and have a gander.
There's a lot of people out there claiming if you want to lose weight, you can't eat bread, and I'd like to publicly clear the air on this because I don't think that bread deserves the disrespect that it's getting. The first thing we need to understand is if you want to lose weight, you need to reduce the amount of calories that you're eating.
The reason why I wanted to bring this one up is kind of for that initial point anyway. I hear so many people say, oh, I'm going to lose some weight, so I'm just going to cut out bread. Why bread? Why specifically bread? Everyone has demonized. I'm going to get some people come for me about this because I have done before. People have demonized carbs so heavily, and I always say, prove your point. You make a point saying, oh, carbs are bad for you because if you eat carbs, you're going to be fat. Prove it. Make the claim and then prove it's correct. Still waiting for the proof. Oh, if you eat carbs, this is going to happen, prove it. Yeah, but if you do this is going to happen, prove it. Carbs are not the enemy. Bread is not your enemy. You do not have to eat carbs to survive. You can survive without them, but I choose not to. I choose to eat carbs to survive because I want to. Quite frankly, they're a fundamental energy source for me. I eat a lot of calories. If I were to get those calories from purely fat and protein, I'd be struggling a little bit, and I enjoy carbs. At the end of the day, my life is only going to be so long. I'm going to spend as much of that time enjoying what I can enjoy, and when I get to the end of my life I can look back and say I had a bloody good time while I was here. It frustrates me sometimes because people will try and argue trying to make something more complicated than it needs to be. If you want to lose weight, calorie deficit. If you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. If you believe a calorie deficit doesn't work, like I said in the last video, don't eat for a while and see how much weight you lose. To clarify, don't actually do that, but what I said before about the whole extreme example thing. Don't overstress things, don't overcomplicate things, and don't confuse people when it doesn't need to be confusing, because a lot of people struggle to achieve their goals or even begin their journey of achieving their goals because they feel overwhelmed and confused and don't even know where to begin. Move more, eat less. Try that and see what happens. When you consume people, oh, you can't eat this, but you can't do this, but you got to do this. Suddenly everyone's like, whoa, this is too much for me to take on board. I'm going to do none of it. That's not encouraging people into a healthier and fitter lifestyle. That's actually discouraging them. You want to encourage people, not scare them. And oftentimes people will associate, oh, I couldn't lose weight because of this bread I was eating. I couldn't lose weight because of this. No, you didn't lose weight because you ate too much. The bread is not to blame there. It is because you didn't stick to the calories, and that's absolutely fine, but take accountability. So, you know, I didn't lose weight because I wasn't eating a calorie deficit. Doesn't mean you've done wrong, doesn't mean you're at fault there. It is just a fact of you didn't do this because of this. And there could be so many reasons as to why maybe it's bad for your relationship with food. Completely valid, completely understandable, because that is so important. And the thing so many people neglect is their relationship with food. And sometimes people get too obsessed and too hyperfixated on calories in versus calories out, and then realize that they're actually miserable, that they're actually developing an unhealthy relationship with food. They're actually sacrificing part of their social life just to eat a bit less to achieve a goal that isn't actually that important to them. But in reality, there are ways you can work around it. There are ways you can achieve those goals in healthier and more sustainable ways. It doesn't change the fact of, to lose weight, you must be in a calorie deficit. And how you choose to go into that deficit is up to you. And you must choose a way that is most sustainable for you. Because if you can't stick to it, you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve. Oh, go on the ultimate tank top arms workout, something I definitely need for summer. But yeah, fantastic. Curl variations. Hammer curl variations. Fantastic. Wouldn't mix and match like that, one at a time and then the other. I wouldn't go beyond the body there, you don't need to go that far, but just a standard supinated bicep curl, fantastic movement for the biceps. Hammer curls, fantastic movement. Bench dips, yeah, if you could do so without upsetting your shoulders. Kickbacks I already spoke about, fine. I'd rather just do like a cable push down. It's a bit more stable, could probably push a bit harder as well, but if you don't have access to that, this is absolutely fine as well. Fantastic. Skull crushers, fantastic. I bring the elbow back a little bit more, takes a bit of pressure off the elbow, so instead of being like directly up, just put them back over here and get really low, get a good stretch at the bottom. Again, like I said, we'll take a bit of pressure off the elbows if there is something that's causing you discomfort. Yeah, as a whole, fairly solid movements. But you know what's actually really funny about that is all the movements were really simple movements. They weren't overcomplicated, they weren't fancy, they weren't too jazzy. They were simple, but fairly effective, and that's pretty good. But regardless of how effective and simple a movement might be, probably not going to be that effective if you don't train hard enough. Choose the best movement in the world, worst movement in the world. If you train really hard with the worst movement in the world versus barely push yourself at all with the best movement in the world, I'm going to back the worst movement in the world instead, provided it actually targets the muscles you're looking to target, because intensity is going to be key, which is how hard you are training. Which is also funny, because it's also the hardest thing to achieve, training hard. I like simple. I'm a simple man. I think most of us are, to be honest. But I like simple things because it's less to think about, and if it gets the job done, then I'm happy about it. But that's a collection of a few Instagram reels and TikToky things that we found. If you actually have any you want me to look at and want to send me, ping them across to me to my Instagram DMs. My tag is @Harry_TFNL, and I'll add them to the list. I'll make another compilation and we'll do another video like this. But until the next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my waffle about apparently a lot of arm work and bread. And thank you for tolerating the video.